The following is a rebroadcast of tonight's 10 o'clock newscast from 6 WDSU.
Here are tonight's winning lottery numbers. We'll repeat the numbers later in the newscast. You're watching Channel 6, WDSU-TV, New Orleans. And now, Norman Robinson, Susan Rosegen, AMS meteorologist Dan Milham with weather, and Skip Baldwin with sports. This is Channel 6 News Tonight.
This little boy's okay now. We'll tell you how he survived a fall from a third-floor window. Also, the Judge Sieber Bridge collapse shocked all of us. Tonight, we'll tell you who the government's blaming for the disaster. But first, summer's here. The mayor wants to keep kids off the streets, but the city's turned out the lights on kids who use this park. New Orleans is in the middle of a campaign to keep its children from becoming victims of crime.
But a group of kids on the West Bank feel like they're being left in the dark, and Russ Roberts is here to explain why.
Well, Susan and Norman, it's summertime, and that means lots of late afternoon and early evening events for kids. But a softball team in Algiers feels like it's getting the short end of the stick because it can only play when the sun is out.
All right, now watch the ball.
It's the hottest part of the day.
Swing. Oh, good shot. Go, baby, run.
Softball practice for these young girls would be much cooler if they could work out under the lights. Problem is, the lights don't work.
I don't ask them for much, just to get the lights on, you know, and I think that can help me a lot. I really do. Third base. Catch the ball.
Terry Jordan is the coach, the counselor, and the fundraiser for the Fox Playground softball team.
It's just so hard. I'm doing it by myself, you know, and they know I need help.
And it's not just her team. The playground pool needs some help, too. And so does the basketball court. Citywide, some of the Nord playgrounds are getting a facelift. But $500,000 in renovation money spread so many ways doesn't last long. Mayor Morial is doing what he can to find extra money to make the park safe and livable. Nord Director Angel Wilson says many of the playgrounds are in deplorable condition. The Fox playground is considered a high risk because of its location, so it's on a priority list to get the lights working. But with no specific timetable for the job, there's little light at the end of the tunnel for these kids at a time when hot days and long practices are about all they can look forward to.
Swing. Oh, good job. Run. Hurry up. Run.
Nord officials say it would take $2 million for a one-time fix-up of all the city's playgrounds. That's a lot of money, even though it doesn't seem like it when our city spends millions every year to entertain adults.
Yeah, casinos and all sorts of gambling activities for adults and nothing for kids.
Player's choice and what kids have, a pool and maybe a park.
No.
All right, thanks, Russ. Well, another way that we're trying to keep kids out of trouble is with the new kids' curfew. And the police are cracking down now on adults who allow the kids to be out past 9 o'clock. A West Bank store owner was arrested last night on charges of contributing to the delinquency of juveniles and breaking the curfew law. The police say the owner admits she sold beer to a 16-year-old who was caught with not only the beer but also with a loaded pistol in his car.
If the owner allows that child to stay in that business and the police come and see that child in the business, the owner can be cited, will probably be cited for violation of the curfew ordinance by allowing that young individual to be on the premise after curfew hours.
Will they be arrested?
More than likely they will be arrested.
And Chief Ortiz says that arrest should be a warning to other businesses. He'll let his officers decide in the future whether to make an arrest on the spot or issue a summons.
And the murder rate in New Orleans is on another record-setting pace. In the first half of this year, we've had more than 200 murders. The latest was this afternoon. 19-year-old Tyrone Allen was found covered in a blanket lying in the 1900 block of Lafreniere Street. He'd been shot several times in the head and chest. Tonight, police are looking for a gray primed four-door vehicle that left the scene just before the body was found. And this latest killing pushes our murder count up to 202.
Last year, a New Orleans woman was killed in an accident, the Judge Sieber Bridge accident. And now a report of that sorts out who's to blame for it. The story from Washington correspondent Bridget Andrews.
May 28, 1993, a towboat collides with the Judge William Sieber Bridge, killing one New Orleans woman and injuring two others. More than a year later, inspectors are looking for answers in the wake of tragedy.
The National Transportation Safety Board determines that the probable cause of the collision was the towboat operator's poor judgment
But the blame doesn't stop there. A report that attempts to explain the collapse of the bridge points another finger as well, this time at the disjointed safety system that turned its back on the poorly protected bridge.
The damage to the bridge protection was documented over the years. What happened, you know, in the inspection review process, the light didn't go on somewhere.
There were just multiple failures on the part of both federal, state, and local, I guess all three government agencies to effectively do that.
The board will make formal recommendations to several agencies at all levels to develop clear lines of communication and implement more comprehensive risk management strategies. Although the board ruled that blame for the collision ultimately lies with the negligent towboat operator, the incident was an accident just waiting to happen. And for that, they blame a negligent safety system, a system now drawing the attention of many, at least one life too late. In Washington, I'm Bridget Andrews, Channel 6 News.
And you might find it interesting that the Coast Guard suspended the license of the towboat operator, but he has voluntarily left the marine industry and moved to Oklahoma.
From the state capitol now, Governor Edwards still won't say why he won't run for 5th term in office, but he was quick to say that it's not because his 29-year-old bride is pregnant.
By the time the child was in the 1st grade, I'd be in a nursing home. That's not in the plans. Thank you very much.
The governor won't say whether he'll stay in politics or move on to the private sector. But some speculate that without a re-election bid, Edwards may lose some of his influence, not political author John McGinnis.
He still controls state government like no one I've ever seen before. He may not have a hard time getting the legislature to do everything he wants, but what happens in the government, he has a pretty tight control of and probably will continue to have for the next 18 months.
Edwards says he will announce his plans in the near future, and when he does, his friends will applaud him and his critics will wonder just how he did it. In the wake of the governor's decision not to run, the field of candidates and potential candidates is beginning to spread out. The list includes Secretary of State Fox McKithen, House Speaker John Alario, State Treasurer Mary Landrieu, State Attorney General Richard Ayub, Lieutenant Governor Melinda Swegman, Buddy Romer, Representative Quentin Dasdug, Dave Treen, Insurance Commissioner Jim Brown, and David Duke. Political analyst Cyrus Lee says at this point the advantage goes to State Treasurer Mary Landrieu. Susan?
In international politics, President Clinton tonight is flattering the French. At a formal dinner with French President Mitterrand,